Hello, class. Here we are, running on towards the last week of this summer term. So we have three labs left to do. Two of those labs are grouped in this assignment, and they should be really done together because we're really going to be examining the origin of the bipedal gait. When that occurs and how we actually identify that. In our own anatomy and in a comparative sort of way. What are the basic differences between something like a member of our genus as compared to something maybe previously, like the genus Australopithecine, which we're going to be looking at, and how do the early members of the genus Australopithecine differentiate themselves from the greater apes? Where do we see that actually in the skeletal anatomy? How do we identify it? So that's what this lab is all about. In this lab, you're going to see exercises number or labs number 7 and 8 grouped together at the bottom of the page. They're very similar to the first labs you've done. And again, I want you to do the questions that I've asked you to do and the exercises, but the exercises you don't need to write them out because it becomes very tedious for you. I'd like you to do this in the workbook, and they are really important for you to do to really understand the material and to answer the final quiz. Now, to keep you on task with this, where you should be, to have really successful completion of the course, is if you can have these two labs done and end by next Tuesday, you're in great shape. And then we can spend the last 2 days of the class working on the very last lab. There's just only one more to go. And once we complete that, then we can move right into the final quiz and you're done with the course. So have these done by next Tuesday. If you send them in earlier, great, good for you. All right, so this is really what this sort of section entails. There are 2 assignments other than just the labs to do. The first is a viewing assignment. And if you look down below this video, you'll see it. It's from CARTA. CARTA is a professional organization where professional anthropologists get together to have symposiums to bring together the big ideas, in the discipline. And this is one of these sort of annual sort of expositions of that. And this is one lecture, and it's bipedalism and the origins of adaptations for walking. It's comparative anatomy. So we're going to be looking at differences between Australopiths and gorillas. And that will really help you with the very first lab. And the very first lab is called Identifying the Human Lineage. So many of the principles and techniques in the fossil record, which they're going to be showing you, in this presentation, will have direct translators, right over into lab number 7, and it'll actually help you get through it quickly. Many of my students are passing, geez, I watched that film and I went and did that lab, and that lab just zinged by really quickly. And that's what I want to help you get, is all the information you need to get that momentum to get these labs behind you as quickly as possible and engage in a lot of learning at the same time. Now, there's a reading assignment. And so far, I've had you, really sort of use the fossil primate books as a reference reading. This one I really want you to read. This is on chapter 16, and it deals with the fossil primate record. And it's a really great way to get identified with, the hallmarks of some of the very first bipeds. So when you hear, iconic names such as Lucy, the skeleton Lucy everyone's heard about, if you get through this chapter, you'll be able to identify anywhere you go. And one of my goals for you is maybe to go to a museum someday, and someday you never know, you'll have your own kids or something, or a group of people, and you'll be 10 feet away from something like a model of Lucy, and you'll go, that's Australopithecus afarensis, and people go, oh, and you can tell them all about it. And that chapter will give you a lot of information on that. So I really want you to spend some time doing that reading. Okay. Lastly, the final quiz will be on the very last day of class, which will be the 23rd. Your last lab, you don't have to have it to me on the last day of class. I can go a day or two after that, like Friday or Saturday into the weekend. So don't feel in a rush, to complete it. But it's really good if you do, so that you can do real well on the final. That's really the idea. But if you're so far behind and buried in other stuff, don't be fearful that I'm going to mark you late or something like that, or you're not going to pass the class. And I'll wait for you to get in. And if I see stuff missing, I might send like a message to you to find out what's going on, or maybe you missed something that you didn't think about, because I really am on your side. I want to make sure you get everything in and the highest grade you can possibly get. All right, so let's get going on this work. All right, and again, any questions, get a hold of me. So the last 2 labs that you've done, I should have those posted. I'm working on grading all that stuff out right now, so probably by tomorrow evening you'll start seeing that back on your record as you see your points building. Everyone's interested. They open the grade book and they want to see where they're up on the point scale. So you'll see those next series going on. But right now, I've got maybe 40% of the class done, and it's like the last time. Most of you guys are getting anywhere in the 13 to 15 range on average, which is just fantastic because most of my classes, on average 10 or 11 points for the labs because they just blow off questions. But you've been very consistent and very good. So I'm happy to reward you guys with some pretty good grades. All right. Good on you guys. All right. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.